You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel.
I am Clint. Welcome back to another episode here of Locked On Bulldogs on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Run Your Pool. We'll get to more of them in a moment.
Sure, we will.
I know we will. If you're listening to us on podcast side, glad you guys are here. Thanks for downloading, listening to, following us wherever you get your podcast, Stitcher or Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating and review. If you're over on YouTube, hit that notifications, subscribe, download, leave us a comment or a review. Some of our favorites, I'm not even going to say his name, but the Tennessee fan, who I'm going to refer to from here on out as Limpy. I'm just going to refer to him as Limpy. You're my favorite. I appreciate you.
Yes, we all do.
So very much.
We all do. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Thanks for subscribing over there. We are 5 days a week. We'll be here. We got episodes every day coming out. So subscribe, hit that bell. If you're on audio, you can subscribe on the podcast listening app of your choice. Also, really appreciate the 5-star rating and review. If you leave us that quickly, helps us out, helps other people find the show. Tell a friend about the show. It may be the off season for the Georgia Bulldogs football team, but it is not the off season for us. It's about to be the off season for the Georgia Bulldogs basketball team because mercifully, they are about to play their last game, and we won't have to suffer through that anymore.
Thank you. My gosh.
We got content coming about names that we like to potentially replace Tom Crean. We are all banking on this being the offseason when Tom Crean is relieved of his duties. And so excited to talk about basketball again when that happens. But for right now, we're talking about football. We are still the defending national champions. You can't take that away from me. You could take Reggie Bush's Heisman away, but you cannot take away Georgia's national championship from me.
That's right.
It won't.
That's right.
It doesn't happen. Today, we're talking about players that are leaving the program on their way to the NFL, and we're talking about players that are still in the program who are hoping to replace those young men. Who's leaving? How difficult will they be to replace? And who is the most likely candidate to replace them? And so, Clint, I'm going to throw to you. Okay. Name number one. We talked about a couple players yesterday, dynamic offensive talent, George Pickens, dynamic defensive talent, Jordan Davis. Go back and watch that episode, listen to that episode if you missed it. I'm going to start on the defensive side of the ball today. And I want to give this one to you because you have been verbally effusive in your praise of these young men that are coming in to replace that are coming in to fill talent at this position. And so I want to give you the opportunity to say what needs to be said here, maybe to me, maybe just to the listener. But I will throw out the name Nakobe Dean, projected first-round draft pick, dominant player on the defense, leader of the alpha number one, I would say. If you're going to rank the alphas on this team, Nakobe Dean is the 1A. How do you replace a guy like that? And who is the most likely candidate to potentially try to step in and do
that? Look, here's the deal. I have been adamant. Nakobe Dean, right now, by the way, I'm having a war within my own soul between Roquan and Nakobe. I'm having a real war within my soul because I want to put Nakobe up atop, above Roquan.
Hey, listen, Roquan's better, but Nakobe got that ring.
He got that natty.
It's hard to dispute that.
Look, I think Channing Tindall and Nakobe Dean and all the likes of the inside linebackers were something special. Quay Walker. They were something special. Okay. Truly and honestly special. Shooting out of cannons, stopping quarterbacks on sacks, blitz pressures, coverage, It was incredible to watch these three guys. And I'm here to tell you that again, Nakobe Dean. I just said I'm warring to be the best middle linebacker in Georgia history.
Mm?
Y'all know what I'm saying? Like history. Okay. Warm my heart, warm my head for that. And I'm here to tell you, Daniel, that if you were to give me the odds that two of these guys can make the production of the three guys we just lost, I'm going to take these two guys we got coming in at middle linebacker ahead of the best three-headed attack we've seen in a long time. And I'm going to tell you why. Xavier Sori, Smile Mondon are elite out of the gate. So Nakobe Dean, who's going to replace Nakobe? No one. Let me tell you right now, no one. He is the best middle linebacker in Georgia history. So no one's going to replace that. Of course, if you ask me who's going to replace Roquan, I would have said the same thing. So look, I'm going to stand next to it until proven otherwise. The two guys that can do it, Xavier Sori, Smile Mondon, we talked about on this podcast when they first got into this that there was probably going to be a position change for them. Sure enough, I'm going from the outside, coming to the inside. But we already saw flashes, and we already saw what Jalen Carter is, Daniel, to the interior defensive line. I think Sori and Mondon are to the linebacking core of Georgia. I think the talent is there. I think the receptivity is there. We've already seen flashes. The biggest thing with inside linebacker that you saw, and Nakobe was a perfect example, Channing Tindall messed up on a couple plays, is the intelligence with it, the speed and the size and the tracking and all of that and running down the field. We clearly, strength and conditioning, not a problem at Georgia. That's not the issue.
Oh, interesting.
No. Interesting. Some may say that's interesting. What's going to be interesting is the X's and O's, the execution. And I think these guys already have a head start and they already are smart and savvy and good. If you gave me the field or these two, I'm taking these two, Daniel. That's who's trying to replace Roquan.
I only have one problem with what you're saying. And I'm gonna give it to you after the break. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna give you the one problem I have with what you're saying. None of the things you're saying are incorrect. There's something important you're omitting, and so I want to talk about that.
I probably look. There's no doubt about that because Daniel, I'm an emotional hedger. So
you are, but I'm actually going to offer that you're not hedging enough. But first, Stat Hero.
Hey y'all, Stat Hero is back.
Hey.
If you don't know what Stat Hero is, it's a fantastic fantasy meets sports betting world. Stat Hero is back. Long-time listeners of the pod will know that they have been here before. They're back here again. And March Madness is here as well, which is a fantastic opportunity for you to get in on this fantasy/sports betting fix, this action fix that is there. We love buzzer beaters. We love Cinderella stories. It's March Madness, y'all. Like, if you don't like this time of year as a sports fan, I don't know if you have a heartbeat, because this is what it's all about. Okay. There are right now, I think this is the time where this thousands upon thousands of men are setting up appointments to get a procedure done. So they have 3 days of lying on their back and doing nothing. That's what's happening right now. Y'all realize that. Okay. We'll get
it.
It's
hashtag worth it.
Hashtag worth it. This is what Daily Fantasy was meant to be over at Stat Hero. Talk about how incredible this place is. It's where Daniel and I want to go to make daily fantasy happen. Sign up for free right now at stathero.com/lockedon. Use promo code LOCKEDON for a 100% deposit match. That's stathero.com/lockedon. Use promo code LOCKEDON for a 100% match. Stathero.com/lockedon. Promo code LOCKEDON. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, Clint.
All right. Emotional hedging. Go.
Well, the only problem I have with what you said is that you said these two guys. When you should have said these three guys. Because Xavier Sori, Smile Mondon, great players for Georgia. But I'm not sure that both of them are going to start next year. Because I'll tell you one person that is going to start at inside linebacker for the University of Georgia next year. And his name is Jamin Dumas-Johnson. He is absolutely the guy that I believe has a leg up on anyone else to step into the role of Nakobe Dean on this team.
Now, see, that Okay, you asked me who's going to take over Nakobe Dean. I think Mondon and Story have that. If you were to ask me who's going to take over for Channing Tindall, we talking about this man right here all of a sudden.
Yeah. I think that he's got the most experience of the three. He's got the most playing time of the three. He's got the most production of the three. I think he's going to be a problem in the SEC for many years to come. I think that he'll be a household name among all college football fans by the end of next year, Jamin Dumas-Johnson. So he would be my pick. Now, my concern is that nobody is going to replace the on-the-field leadership of Nakobe Dean. All the three guys that we just mentioned, Clint, were freshmen on last year's team.
Yep.
Okay. That's not, and they all played sparingly in reserve roles / on special teams. Now that's valuable experience of SEC football, but it's not on the field leadership. If you want to talk about the hardest working man on the defense next year, his name is Christopher Smith, because Christopher Smith is not only going to have to play his position, he's going to have to line up the other safety position. He's going to have to line up the star position, who will be inexperienced. And he's going to have to line up both inside linebackers, who will also be inexperienced. It's a lot to ask of these guys, because half of playing inside linebacker in college football, you know this, is just being in the right spot before the play starts. It's knowing where to look before the play starts. That's what made these guys, Roquan, Nakobe, so good. It's not just the elite all-world speed. It's that they were already running in that direction before the offensive players started running in that direction. And that's something you can't replace without experience. So,
look, if you guys don't understand, inside linebacker especially, DB, you can get away with reactionary to the wide receiver. You can get away with that a little bit. You can see where he's going. You can react to him. If you're twitchy enough, you can do that. Inside linebacker, you have to have the ability to get past and over blocks or through blocks, as well as hunt down a quarterback, a running back, a tight end, a wide receiver. And the way you do that is anticipation. And we say it like it's this weird, ambiguous thing. Watch Nakobe Dean. He anticipated plays before they were there because he was so dang bright that he saw the field so clearly. And it was insane to watch him do that. Like, honestly, it was a work of art for those. Like, if you really get nitty gritty and really get geeked out about inside linebacker play, it was a work of art. He was the best in the biz at anticipation. That is not some weird spidey sense, but rather diagnosing and awareness of formation and situation and tendencies, which is exactly what he has. And you're right. That is learned over. Either you come in and you're a all-star freak right out of the gate, but that's learned after playing 1.5. By the second time you're through a full season, now you're starting to get a lot more. Now you're starting to talk like a film head junkie. All of those things start going down. And that, my friends, is we're going to be missing that. You're right. Christopher Smith, Tyke Smith. I think Tyke's got an opportunity to really, really come in and show some things, but you're right. Christopher Smith is going to be
hard-working man.
Professor. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
all right. Who's the next name we're going to go with here on the NFL Combine list?
Let's go. Who Tyke is? Do you want to go offense or defense? You want to stick on the defensive side or go to the offensive side?
Well, we did one defense. Let's do an offense.
Okay.
We did one of each.
Okay. Let's talk about offense, and let's talk about the absolute showing that a lot of people forgot who Zamir White was. Daniel, let's talk about your boy. We talked about.
I didn't forget.
No,
I don't think I forgot.
We talked about my boys. The first of this was the inside linebacking core. Let's talk about now Zamir White and what he did. He showed out at the 40-yard dash. He beat James Cook, which a lot of people, again, John from John Tweet Sports tried to get me all up in a lather, and he didn't succeed by using the phrase thunder and lightning.
Did he succeed?
Let
the record show, if anyone anywhere uses the phrase thunder and lightning, Clint begins immediately to twitch.
immediately. I know what it is. This eyebrow just goes all sorts of crazy. He beat James Cook on the 40-yard dash, and that's because you haven't watched these two running backs. James Cook is ghost on skates. He is smooth all the way through. Zamir White is explosive sprinter all the time. These are the skill sets that they bring. So, Daniel, Zamir White, go.
Yeah, it's an obvious one. So the answer to the who question is Kendall Milton. I think everyone knows this. Kendall Milton is the body type. He is the physical runner that Zamir White is. He has the speed. He has the athleticism, but most importantly, he has the size. He has the physicality. He's not afraid of the hit, just like Zamir White. And he obviously has the experience. Now, I can't remember. Did he transfer? The Gurus and Insiders were reporting that he transferred earlier in the year. Did he transfer?
Do you know how sad it is just to your literal whole entire job is to make words appear on an internet source so that people click it. It's so sad. It's truly sad.
It is sad. Kendall Milton's still on the roster, and he's the most obvious choice to replace Zamir White. Now, how successful is he going to be at doing that? That's the real question. Because I think Zamir brings something to the table that people forget, because I think there's a line of thinking that's going to say, well, Kendall Milton, Zamir White, he's a veteran guy, he's an experienced guy, but Kendall Milton more talented than Zamir White.
There it is.
Let me stop you right there, because Zamir White, coming off of multiple knee injuries. Maybe that's what you mean. But if you want to just look at the sheer talent of these young men, Zamir's one of the most talented running backs we've ever recruited at the University of Georgia. Now, the knee injuries really set him back in his Georgia. And if he's able to fully recover from those knee injuries, listen, there's an NFL team that's going to get a really, really, really elite back for at least a good chunk of years. Okay. Kendall Milton, I think, does have some explosiveness that Zamir White probably doesn't have. And because of the knee injuries, I think Kendall Milton is actually a little stronger than Zamir White ever was at the University of Georgia. So I think the proof will be in the pudding. Kendall Milton's never really been able to get the touches. And this year, he's going to be able to get the touches. It's his team. It's Kenny Mack's team. I hope that, quote-unquote, thunder and lightning takes the form of guy we hand it to and guy we throw it to, because I would love to see Kendall Milton and Kenny McIntosh on the field at the same time a lot this season, Clint. And I think you would too, because I think they offer two very unique skill sets. And I think the more we can hand it to Kendall Milton, the more opportunity we're going to give him to be special this year.
Completely agree with that. 1,000%. I think our running back room is in good hands. We're going to come back to after this, talk about the percentage chance that they're able to do so for both of these groups. But first, one, let you know about Run Your Pool. Right now, March Madness is here. It is in full effect. It is everything you wanted and more. It's better than you hoped for. It's the more. It's how do they do that, Daniel? They make it better.
They do something. They put it. I don't know. It's some sort of chemical they put in it. I don't know. It makes you.
Scientists are researching right now.
Science doesn't know. They don't know.
Science don't know. You don't go with the usual. Go for the best. We've done our homework here, and we're running our brackets over at runyourpool.com. Along with standard brackets, Run Your Pool offers game types like Survivor or Pick X. They have options to edit scoring. Daniel doesn't have admin privileges, just to let you know one more time publicly. And they offer more intel to make your picks, all the stuff you won't find over at ESPN or CBS. Clearly, we've done our research. We like them a great deal. We'll be running our brackets over there. And here's what you need to do. Come join us. Why don't you? That's what I'm saying. Come on in. If you want to play against us for a shot at cash prizes, join us at runyourpool.com/lockedon. While you're there, create your own pool for your friends and family. Enter Pure Madness at checkout for $10 off your custom pool. That's runyourpool.com/lockedon. Enter Pure Madness.
Also, BetOnline, Clint. I mean, you're talking about March Madness. Let's just go ahead and talk about BetOnline. It's your online sportsbook expert. It's the place that you go for all of your March Madness wagering needs. And there are many. There are many March Madness wagering needs, Clint. You want to sprinkle a little Sweet 16 action on there. You want to sprinkle a little Final Four. You want to talk about national championship odds. You want to talk about game-by-game picks, over-under spreads, parlays, player props, whatever you want. BetOnline has it for all of the games in the NCAA tournament. They are the place to go, the place Clint and I trust. They are the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, and the only place that Clint and I trust to place our NCAA basketball tournament wagers. BetOnline.net, mobile site, desktop site, whatever you need. Enter the promo code Locked On. You get a bonus on your initial deposit. That means when you make your first deposit, they give you free money. You take that money and wager it just like any other money. When you win, it goes straight into your account, and then you cash it out and you go out to eat or buy something fancy, whatever it is that you want to do. BetOnline.net, your online sportsbook expert.
All right, scale of 1 to 10. We talked about these two groups. We talked about the running back group. We talked about the inside linebacker group. How successful on a scale of 1 to 10? How hard is it going to be? How easy is it going to be to replace Nakobe Dean specifically, and then Zamir White? Let's start with Nakobe. Scale of 1 to 10. How likely are we to replace him with these three guys?
I'm going to go with a 6, but sometimes it's going to feel like a 3 because when dudes are out of alignment, it feels worse than it is. You know, like it's just one thing, and it's not, you know, like it's sometimes it's kind of a simple fix. It's an easy fix. But there are going to be moments this year, Georgia fans, when it's going to feel like the wheels are falling off of the defense.
Yep.
Like when there's going to be gaping holes that people are just going to be sprinting through down the field, and you're going to think to yourself, wait, what am I watching? So all I will say is that now preemptively, and I'm not going to take my own advice, so I don't expect you to either, but just take a breath in those moments,
please,
and know that it's not as bad as it seems. So are we going to be able to replace the production? I'd say 6 out of 10 we will, but sometimes it's going to feel like a 3 out of 10. What say you?
I think there's a high likelihood I think the range, you bring up a great point. I think the range of success is wider for the inside linebacker group. I think it gets closer because I think we have 3 guys. One of those 3 are going to hit, Daniel. One of them are going to hit. Okay. Now, I think Dumas Johnson, I think Smile Minded, all these guys have the skill, have the ability. They're clearly going to get coached up. Like, if y'all don't think Shoe going to have a job just for eternity in college football,
whatever he wants.
Yeah, whatever he wants, he's going to have it. They're going to get coached. They have the skill. They have the speed. They have all that. I think, to your point, maybe we're projecting too much. I think our pass defense next year is going to be exceptional, including the linebacker coverage. I think run defense, all-time historic, I think that's going to take a bigger than anticipated. That's the part where you're going to see the freak out moments where Daniel and I during game day are going to text each other several expletives that we cannot repeat on this show. That's going to be hard. That's going to be very hard because it's going to be so I think I agree. I don't know what the range is. I think the floor might be a 2. I think it's going to be really, really unbearable at times, especially early on. But I think there's a chance that all 3 of these guys can make us feel like an 8, like, that's not as big as a drop off as I'm anticipating. That's, of course, knowing that he's Nakobe Dean. Like, he's the alpha of alphas, guys.
Yeah, it's tough. Now, on the other side of it, the running back position, I'm going to say something that I think is going to surprise you. I think the likelihood of replacing Zamir White, and I'll just lump James Cook into this as well because we're talking about the running backs. 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I say with confidence, Georgia's running backs will be better next year than Georgia's running backs were this year. And this is coming from, before you jump in them comments and call me a Zamir White hater, you don't do your homework.
Clue. You have no clue. This man loves him like a brother.
Who I am. Okay. Huge fan of these guys and eternally grateful for the national championship that they delivered to Georgia, even though if you use the same logic, the defense won the national championship, which means Zamir White and James Cook had nothing to do with it, according to all Georgia fans. So, because it was the defense, right, Georgia fans? That's what we're saying?
Okay. For a moment, can we get back to this? If you are in our comments talking about your hope that another quarterback overtakes Stetson Bennett for the starting job, I'm the one that will remove your comment, just so you know who to blame. I'm the one that's going to remove your comment.
It's just that we keep saying over and over and over again, why don't you just hope for the better one to play? Why don't you just hope that the one Kirby thinks will help us win will play? Because we won all the games that we needed to win to win the championship.
Okay.
Anyway, running backs next year I think are going to be better. This isn't Nick Chubb and Sony Michel. Don't get it twisted. Just because people say the same types of things about them, just because they led us to the promised land, just because they've been on the team forever, just because they were roommates, just because they were seniors, don't get it twisted. This ain't Nick Chubb and Sony Michel.
The three-headed monster, Kendall Milton, Dejon Edwards, Kenny Mack.
Mm-hmm.
Look, guys, it's a 10 out of 10. The most important, there were two plays, three in national championships specifically that Zamir White, James Cook did to really cement it. One was a pass pro block by James Cook to get that touchdown to A.D. Mitchell, which that was incredible play. I loved that to pieces, clearly.
Yep.
Then the longest run in college football playoff history by James Cook to set up.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. That was fantastic. And then the Zamir White death march of 7-yard gains. Okay. Just, my gosh, I love. Now, all of those were exceptional plays. What we're saying is the three guys I just listed. You want to talk about death march? His name's Deshaun Edwards, and he was built specifically for the Kirby death march. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's what he was built. He's made for it. He's the Death Star of the Kirby Death March. It's literally in his name.
Okay. So fine, we're good. That one's taken care of. You want to talk about break off runs? Kenny Mack had explosiveness in the pass catch game that was exceptional. He's our best receiving back,
best hands on the team. Period. Of all the players on the team, he has the best hands.
Okay, so that. Piece of cake. Kendall Milton, we saw him early on from freshman year now. He can break off those 20, 30-yard chunks with ease, no problem. So it's a 10 out of 10. This one's a slam dunk. I am very, very excited about our running backs. We anticipate them to be used a lot next year with the offense production we have coming back.
We do?
Yep.
A lot of running backs.
A lot of running backs. Hey, that does it for Locked On Bulldogs. Here on Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Come back tomorrow. We'll keep on doing this. How are we going to replace the productivity loss now that we see how freakish they are at the combine? We already knew it, but the whole world is now aware of it, Daniel.
That's right. But Georgia's going to be just fine. Listen, the cupboard is not bare.
No.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk to you about it then. We'll see you guys.
See ya.